In my family in Venda, the way that we are raised, it is very different from other tribes here in South Africa. When you are raising your child, you want your child to succeed. From primary, even from creche, you make sure that your child goes to the best creche where they'll get a good foundation. That is exactly how I was raised by my own mother and my father. We don't just raise children, we make sure that they are sharp and they are ready for the job market. As a single mother, my entire identity was wrapped up in my daughter's success. How much education your children has gotten is how much they are going to be valued in society. That is what we believe in our culture. You know, when it is in your culture, if your child is an engineer, then it means that you made it in life. If your child builds you a 10-bedroom house with a big wall, electric gate, staying in the suburbs, you have arrived. So it is all about taking your children to the best universities. I sacrificed everything, just like my friends they were doing. I would rather work without resting so that my daughter could go to the best private school, just like what my parents had done. I was already working here in Joburg, but I did not want my daughter to study here in Joburg because I believed that education back in Venda was much more superior than here in Joburg. So I would work and would only go there when I was on my off days. I worked 3 jobs so that she could study engineering at a top university in Cape Town. I would consult with countless companies. I would write business reports throughout the night without resting. Even my love life was boring because most of the times I would find myself sitting in front of the computer, just working without resting. So when she walked across that stage in her graduation gown, I celebrated and I said, God, you did it for a single mother. I thought that I had won. I thought that the hard years that I had been working were over. It was now time now for me to relax, to go on vacations, and then to think about even getting married so that I can be with a man that I'll be with for the rest of my life. But you know, the world sometimes it throws stuff at you that you did not even expect that they were going to be thrown back at you. So things just got bad. I don't know if it was bad luck or if it was the devil's work. I could not even understand what was going on. My daughter, with her high level degree, she could not even find a single company that was willing to take her. So my daughter started to work for me. When I will be having some consultation to be done, I would even have my daughter do the reports. I was training him, but I wanted her to find a big company, even a big multinational company, so that she can have good experience and she can keep on moving up the corporate ladder. Even if I was using my other contacts that I had in the industry, but still it was very difficult. Months they turned into a year. To survive, then she said, Mom, I need to get a job. She then took a job that she had been offered by one of her mother's friend who was working in HR, and then she took a job at Shoprite in Johannesburg. She was packing groceries, working the till. Whilst I was thinking that my world was over because I was ashamed. I was really ashamed that my daughter had gone to this expensive university only for her to go and start working at Shoprite with a degree. Oh, how I had suffered for nothing. I would cry whenever I would think about this, that so all of that money that I had sacrificed for her education, it had all gone for nothing. When instead of me looking at my daughter and feeling sorry for her that she was unable to get a job, Brother Nashim, I started to resent my daughter. It was because of the humiliation whenever I would see other young women from Vietnam driving expensive cars. Whenever I would have returned back home, and it used to make me to feel bad. I am ashamed to admit it now, but I was just as strict as my father was. My father was a strict man. I was also strict, a bitter mother. When I saw her age mates, girls she went to school with, driving new SUVs, and whenever we would go back to Venda, we would see them with their GP number plated SUVs. I started to take out my frustration out on her when we were invited at this other wedding. We went there. This was the same girl that she went with to school. She was not even as bright as my daughter was, but there she was getting married, and the wedding was very expensive. So I started to take out my frustration on my poor daughter. I told her that she was not trying hard enough and she was taking advantage of me because I already had made it in life. She would go and work at Shoprite while she was driving my car, and I did not want her to use any of my cars. She was supposed to take a taxi so that she can even look for a job much harder than what she was doing. She was nothing but a Shoprite engineer and a disgrace to my sacrifices. How can an engineer be working at a till at Shoprite? I did not know that these words were pushing her towards a shortcut that was going to lead her to an early grave. It was in 2016 when she called me. She was excited. By then, she told me that she had met someone who was a businessman. In the beginning of her relationship, my daughter, she was afraid to tell me more about this man. For this man, he was from Nigeria. She did not want me to know that this guy was from Nigeria. All that she told me was that, Mom, I have met someone. He's a businessman and he lives in Centon. He says that he wants me to get a proper job or even to start a company for me. And he is like an engineer, should not be working at Shoprite. He's going to open a firm for me within a month. I was surprised, for my daughter was living in a penthouse. She sent me money. She would come to my place. She would give me more than a Shoprite salary could ever provide. I stopped scolding my daughter. I started enjoying the fruit of her labor, ignoring the tiny voice in my head that asked where this money was coming from and why was she taking too long to introduce this guy to me. And then when I found out that he was from Nigeria, I only accepted because I had seen what he had done for my daughter. That was the only reason as to why I had accepted. If it was not for that, there was no way that I was ever going to accept it. So I only accepted because he was buying nice stuff for my daughter, and my daughter was now driving a brand new BMW, the model for that year that had recently came out. They went and they bought a car, and I started to enjoy. She was now doing some consultation, but even though I did not know for which big company, but she just said, Mom, I have gotten a big contract. We are busy working with this other company. And I said, okay, as long as your Nigerian man is not into selling drugs, there is no problem. But still, I did not want other people to know that my daughter, she was dating a Nigerian man. I wanted them to date only after my daughter had successfully made it in life. Then she could break up with this Nigerian man, and then she can get married to a Venda man. I am someone that is very traditional. I did not want my daughter to get married to a Nigerian, but I finally agreed because of the money. I agreed after they had taken me on a vacation. We went on a vacation to Egypt. It was me, my Nigerian son-in-law, as well as my daughter. We went there and we were staying in Cairo, and we went and we saw some pyramids there in Egypt. And when we returned back, that was when I said to my daughter, I have given you my blessings. This man, he can get married to you, but you need to train him. You need to teach him Benda. I don't want people to know that he's Nigerian because I'm too traditional, and I believed that my daughter is only supposed to get married to a man that is Venda, or maybe someone that is Pedi that comes from Limpopo, not someone from outside of Limpopo province. So that is what I had in mind. Since my daughter was now wealthy, I was not scolding her like the way that I used to do it before that. So there was no one that knew that my daughter was about to get married to a Nigerian man. Even when they got married, I said that I wanted it to be a small gathering. So they got married in court, at a magistrate court here in Joburg. And then we just had a small celebration. Even though my daughter said that she wanted a big wedding back in Venda, I did not want people to know, everyone in the community to know that my daughter had gotten married to a Nigerian man. So then my pastor, my old pastor in Venda, there is this other church which I go to when I am in Venda. My pastor in Venda called me and he sounded terrified. He said, "You know what, woman of God, I had a dream." And I said, "Pastor, tell me, what kind of a dream did you have?" And then that was when the pastor said to me, "I saw your daughter. When I saw your daughter, she was lying in a white coffin, but she was lying in this white coffin in a village in Nigeria. They were men that were in red robes standing over him. They were chanting in a language that I could not understand, probably a local language where she was in a village there in Nigeria. This man, I think that she is with a man right now. You should ask your daughter if she is having a relationship with another man," because the pastor knew that my daughter was married to a man, but he did not know that my daughter was married to the Nigerian man that he had dreamt about. And he said that she is dating someone who is not a businessman, but it seems as if this person is working for the devil. Then we started to laugh on the phone because he said maybe it is me watching too many Nollywood movies, just like what Mama here is saying. So the pastor's wife had been saying that, maybe it is because you have been watching too many Nollywood movies. And then I just said in my mind, maybe the pastor is just watching too many movies. So I was not struggling in life. I chose money over the warning that he had given to me. So over the next 5 years, my daughter had 4 stillbirth. She would fall pregnant. Every year she was pregnant. There was a time when my daughter was like, "Mom, I am tired. My body is tired. I can't carry another pregnancy, but I want to give my husband a child," because this Nigerian man, he did not have a child, had never had a child before, even when he was still there in his country and when he came here to South Africa. And the other thing that we found out after they had gotten married was that he had been married several times to different South African women. This we only found out later after the marriage. But I chose to ignore anything because I said, we are going to be having a lot of money. This man has a lot of money. But I would feel so sorry for my daughter because over the next 5 years, my daughter, she was pregnant each and every year. And every time she got pregnant, the baby will die in the 8th month. And when you have carried a pregnancy for 7 to 8 months, they give you some medicine so that you can give birth. When you would have lost your baby, the baby comes out and you feel pain as if you are giving birth. That is exactly that would happen. My daughter would explain what will happen before she would have lost the baby. The baby will stop responding in her womb, won't be playing. There won't be any movement at all. My daughter will tell me that what will happen is that she would feel as if there is someone with frozen cold hands that will be touching her stomach at night. A Nigerian husband will just buy her a new car, take her on a vacation, a diamond ring to cheer her up. When my daughter passed away, I went and I collected, there were a lot of jewelry that I collected that my son-in-law had bought for my daughter each and every time that my daughter had lost a pregnancy. He had the habit of buying jewelry that was worth around 40k to 50k. I profited quite a lot from the jewelry after we had gone there to take the belongings that once belonged to my late daughter. When my daughter finally passed away, she was carrying a pregnancy. This was the last pregnancy that she carried. She contacted malaria. How so? No one even knows. But my daughter contacted malaria while she was pregnant in the late term in her pregnancy, and then she died. She and her daughter that she was carrying in her womb, then she passed away. So the problem that I have right now that has brought me to your channel, because I am looking for a prophet that can assist me. The challenge that I am facing is that ever since my daughter passed away and we buried her, and the Nigerian man said that the cars and everything, he did not want anything. He wanted me to take everything and to sell it. So I sold the cars, also the jewelry, and some of the money that was in the accounts. And ever since that time, I have not had a single night of peace. I see my daughter's ghost, but I see her in my dreams. Whenever I see her, she does not come into the house, into the room where I will be sleeping, but I see my daughter. She will be sitting on her grave, but this grave is not in South Africa. This grave, it is in a backyard, in a village. She is somewhere there in Nigeria, in a village, and when she is crying, then she will be saying, Mom, come here, gather the courage to come near me. When I gather the courage to go near the grave where she will be sitting on top of, then I will see that behind her grave, there are 10 other graves of women that will be sitting on top of their graves. They will be crying all at the same time. And then she looks at me, then she say, Mom, see me. I am not resting. I am working. We are many. He sacrificed us to work on his father's farm here in Nigeria. Look at us. And then when I open my eyes, then I'll see myself on a farm in Nigeria, a big commercial farm there in Nigeria, where I see the 10 women, including my daughter. They will be working on that farm non-stop, day and night. They are working on that farm, including some of the people that also comes from the family that this Nigerian man comes from, and he will be there controlling them where they work day and night. I blame myself every single day. I once went to his office, and when I went to his office, he then went and he reported me to the police. Yes, he got me arrested for harassing him because I went there, I was crying, and I said that I want my daughter. Where did you take my daughter to? He went straight to the police station. He got me arrested, and he also have a protection order against me. So this means that I can't speak with him. I am not even allowed to go close to the place where he was staying, even with my own daughter. I am not even allowed to do that, because if I go there, I'm going to get arrested. I blame myself every single day. I wish that I had not been so strict on my daughter. I wish that I had not compared him to some of her peers. Maybe she could be still alive. At least if she was still working at Shoprite, it did not even matter. One day she was going to get an engineering job like she studied for. I just want to tell other mothers, whether you are in Venda, wherever you are in South Africa, in the world, please stop the pressure. Stop acting like life is a race to see who can build the biggest house first. I was not supposed to push my daughter into the hands of a man that is so heartless to get me arrested because I went to his office to tell him that I have been seeing my daughter. My daughter is saying that she is not resting in peace. You are using her for rituals. You were supposed to be shocked and said, Mama, let us go to a sangoma so that we can hear more about these dreams, what is happening. He is not even worried. I was so angry when I learned that he went to Venda without telling me. He went and he put flowers on top of my daughter's grave. I went there after I heard this, and I took those flowers and I burnt them because of the way that he used my daughter for rituals. This is my confession, but I am looking for a prophet who can assist me. I'll be there in the comment section. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear sister. Let us try to speak with our dear sister in the comment section. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world. 10 women, all of them every night, they sit on top of their graves crying and just crying, and they are used by that man on his farm in Nigeria. African magic.